High intensity interval training. Why is it not what everyone makes it cracked up to be? One, when we think about high intensity interval training, if we're actually pushing beyond our capacities, beyond our capabilities, then it is really going to push us to have major drops in HRV. It's going to be really hard on our body. It's a stressor. Remember, when we talk about the 8 controllables, 7 of the 8 are focused on that recovery quadrant or that regeneration quadrant, the immune function, the sleep, the nutrition, the hydration, mindset, environment, self-care. 7 of the 8 are in that regeneration space. Whereas the single that is not is physical activity and movement. And so if we only ever do high intensity interval training, we can never build a base that's going to allow us to recover well enough, which is why it's imperative that we cycle it. Now, I'm not here to poo-poo on high intensity interval training. We have to work at high intensities. We have to stress ourselves beyond where we can get or wherever our baseline is. Otherwise, we're not growing. And if we look at data here, we're going to ultimately see that when we create a cycle that goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down with high intensity training, as well as an opportunity to recover, we're also going to be able to push harder. I spent the last week at High Rocks games and then HPTL games with Brian Mazza in Austin. And I was able to perform at very high rates of intensity simply because I prepared my body to handle that. Now, I'll get vulnerable here. I have not been at the space of ready to puke from exercising. And there was one workout that we did at HPTL or HPLT, sorry, where we did a 30 cal airdyne bike right into a 50-yard shuttle run, immediately into 20 cals on the airdyne bike, 20 and a 50-yard shuttle run, and then 10 cals on the airdyne with a 50-yard shuttle run. I finished that, and I'll tell you what, I posted in my story, and I'll attach the clip to this, where I could hardly keep my eyes open. The interview that I did after, it's like 15 seconds long. I don't even remember what I said. And for the next 25 minutes, all I focused on was not hurling. And that type of push, that type of like overreaching, that type of high intensity work is what is required periodically in order to push our bodies beyond where we need to gain capacity to handle these high stress loads, to be able to go and win the High Rocks games like I did, and go and finish top 4 in the HPLT games with some of these amazing individuals like Brian and Michael and Eric and Jimmy. They're just like specimens. If we're continually doing high intensity outputs, we are not going to give ourselves the rest and recovery we need to overreach when we need to. And we're literally just going to start performing at 60 to 70% of our potential because we haven't allowed ourselves to tap into it, and our nervous system is fried. Remember, HRV is the measure of how our body's handling stress or strain, and ultimately is telling us whether we can push or whether we need to pull back a little bit. Doesn't mean that we don't do anything, we treat ourselves with glass gloves, but rather how hard do we push and when do we back off? Go on it.